Welcome to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam.
And so, as I mentioned before this, the craziness is about to start, which is all part of the fun. And we have something called OtterTrack coming up. Now, otters sound nice, right? Don't we agree with that? These otters are really pointy teeth, claws, all of that. I'm a little bit scared. How do you feel?
With web feet and stuff? Oh, yeah. They look cute, but until you meet them, they say always, like, the chances of getting killed by an otter, are not high, but they are never zero.
So the goal of OtterTank is that we've invited these 10 startups who have somewhat been participating in the hackathon, but these are more established projects, and invited them here today to present. Now, this is for everyone that's here's benefit, but it's also for their benefit and also hopefully for the judges' benefit. But their goal is to try and help you move along, challenge the things. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the judges sitting down here at the front, so they actually have the best view. We're going to start with that and see how it goes. Each startup is going to have 3 minutes to present, and there's a timer up there. Those in the audience, you can't see it, but every person always sees a timer. And the timing is going to be incredibly,
quick.
Beetje snel in Nederlands.
Yeah.
Then what's going to happen is
First, we'll get the judges. So first, I want to welcome to the stage Taj from Oasis.
Woo!
Round of applause, guys. Thank you. Yes. As you can see, they will also have like a place basically to put the score. So when they have the score, they will put.
Can you hold up the whiteboard?
Yeah.
There you go.
See that? Secondly, I would like to bring to the stage Justin. Do we have Justin?
Woo!
I guess not. Maybe
That's a no. Could someone go find Justin?
Yes, please. Okay, then we will have Konstantin up the stage from Cake Wallet.
Woo!
Applause, guys. Do we have Noah somewhere? Noah? Also, please, could someone also get Noah, please? We need him.
We'll get. Hey, it's gone so well so far. It's gone
really
so well.
has.
The keynote's finished and it's
I think
chaos.
they're busy. But either ways, we would like to get them also so they can also vote on the project. Oh, there you are, Justin. Woo!
Woo! And for the record, this wait, you're not that important. Come on, sit down next to the other judges. And we'll wait for the other one. We're just going to get started. This is supposed to be fun. The goal is, once the presentation is complete, the judges, you guys can ask kind of the first questions. So the judges are going to ask some of the first questions, and then we're going to put up the Slido. We're going to see whether it works. The audience can ask questions. But then ultimately, again, there's only 5 minutes for that Q&A or so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask the judges to score from 1 to 10. And this is the most arbitrary, amazing ranking ever known to man. And yeah, have fun. So I think if we can switch back to the list, the first ones I'd like to invite up is going to be TPN.
DeTrip, please also get ready at the same time because we mentioned this is very fast-paced. So time is money. So keep clicking, guys. Come on.
Right. You ready?
Yes.
OK. And are we ready with the timer? Good to see you, mentor. All I can say is good luck. Yeah, be careful for that one. He's extra naughty.
Yeah, you might get grilled, but good luck.
All right, and take it away.
This one doesn't fly. There we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Mentor. I'm here today on behalf of the Taufor protocol. We manage both the Taufor protocol and subnet 65 on BitTensor, which is the Tau private network, which is not on screen. There we go. That's us. Over the coming 3 minutes, I'll briefly take you through BitTensor, what subnets are and what our subnet 65 does, and then what we built over the past weekend. So BitTensor is a blockchain that has subnets on it, which are incentive silos in which you can provide any service against an incentive. BitTensor subnets are pseudo-verifiable consensus, which is to say they do write things to chain, but they're not as verifiable as everyone here is used to. So the cryptography isn't purely provable. Subnets are like silos on the base blockchain that compete for the emissions of the base blockchain. So the more popular your subnet is, the more of the emissions of the blockchain go to your subnet. This creates a competition among subnets to provide a useful service. What our subnet does, subnet 65, is we provide VPN connections. So our miners, which is not strictly the best terminology, but they provide VPN connections, and the validators, they make sure that the miners provide the right VPN connections, and they're the interface between users and developers and the miners. What we hacked together over the weekend is we use the subtensor EVM system because BitTensor itself is Polkadot based. The EVM system is a submodule that runs on it. We use the EVM layer that runs on BitTensor to make a payment system where people can pay on EVM. And then the validators that set the weights for miners in a subnet can use that data to permit or to modulate services provided to users. We intended to also finish auto staking of DTAU. We were 90% of the way there, but we're going to have to finish that over the coming weeks. If you're watching this online or something and you want to watch our code, you can do that at those URLs. And if you want to follow our work elsewhere, you can follow the subnet at sn65_tpn and our protocol at taufuxyz. And I got 40 extra seconds left. Thank you.
A whole 45 seconds left. Nice work. So you guys have 2 microphones to share between you. Maybe I can also give you another one. And if you have any questions or thoughts, then go nuts. You can hold it and just talk into it whenever you want.
Check. Yeah. I like the use case, actually. I think decentralized VPNs is something that we've seen tried a lot of times and hasn't really taken off yet. Question, why did you choose Tau to build on? Is there any particular reason for that?
So the BitTensor chain is purely about incentives. So if we want to incentivize something, it's a fun place to incentivize something.
It's because you get the emissions, that's why. Okay,
It's a way to incentivize the miners. Yeah.
That makes sense, thank you.
So you can
I was told to be afraid of you.
You should be. But you're doing well so far, so. Anyone else?
So how do you validate that the service is actually provided? Like the validators need to stake as well and risk their,
You think like a man after my own heart, and that is not how BitTensor works at all. So we have validator code and miner code that controls the subnet. That is not on-chain. That's purely off-chain. If a majority of the validators vote on a certain truth, which is posted to chain, then that's the truth. And there's no way to verify cryptographically that what the majority of the validators claimed is actually true or not. So in our system, what happens is the miners, they run a daemon that offers VPN connections, and a validator periodically just queries all the miners, establishes a VPN connection through the miner back to itself to prove that everything works, and that way sets the weights.
How many VPN connections do your miners actually process? Like, how used is this network?
We launched 2 weeks ago, so we sponsored a hackathon 2 weeks ago where there were a bunch of products running on it. Consumer-wise, so like I said, we just hacked together our first payment system, so we're looking to make that uptick now.
Aha, so your VPN only takes crypto payments then?
So currently, it doesn't take any payments and it's just open, so developers can just build on it and it's free. And right now, we're looking at what's the best way to accept payments. We've looked at things like credit cards and so forth, but we want to, if we can, stay crypto native.
Okay.
How would you feed those payments back into the incentive system in that case?
No, I had a question, but yeah, shoot first.
Feeding back into the incentive mechanism on the BitTensor level?
Correct.
Yeah, so BitTensor silos, inside their silos, they emit a subtoken called DTAU. And the way that the emissions are based is how many people hold and stake that DTAU, which is why one of the things we had intended for this weekend is for the payments to automatically be fed into that DTAU. However, because of some complexities between the EVM layer and the substrate layer, we need some help of someone who doesn't work on Sundays. So we didn't manage to get there, but that is the way we intend to do it. So basically taking the TAU, stake it into the DTAU.
Excellent.
Yeah. So usually like VPN and performance like sort of correlates with like the geographical distribution of the servers. So like how sort of like this thing being tackled, like performance?
Perfect question. So VPNs are actually not that complicated, and centralized VPNs are cheap and work well. So the one thing that we're trying to incentivize is to have that geographical spread. So the way that the validators, they rank the miners, is basically they do a calculation where they check for each miner where they are, compare the countries of those miners against the whole set, and those who are in a more unique location get a higher weight. So we already have a few miners in countries where the current VPN providers do not operate, probably because there's low demand and it's just like regulatory-wise complicated to put nodes there. But independent operators apparently have no problem doing that.
Yeah. How do you handle like sort of like high traffic, like I don't know, like streaming video and stuff?
To this point, we've had no such issues, but that is something that we're going to need to build into basically the weighting of the miners, where you get rewarded for more traffic as opposed to less. And this is where like we're discovering all sorts of things that are not a problem in regular current VPN land, because you cannot, for example, verify that a miner did a certain amount of bandwidth. So we're going to have to make proxies for that.
Are you planning to launch a token along with this, or?
So no, comma. So DTAO is already a token that's for the incentive layer, and the subnet owner has the rights to 18% of the emissions that is in one subnet. That's just the way the blockchain works.
It seems like you don't need a token.
So there is a token, but we are, so what the Tau...
So there is a token.
So
30 seconds.
The DTAO token is a token. What the Tau protocol does is basically tokenize the owner share of a subnet, and that will be in ERC20.
Okay. How can I currently use your VPN?
Beautiful question. There's a bunch of decentralized VPNs, Mysterium, Orchid, they tried a bunch of things. I was like an investor in the pre-sale of Mysterium, and I still don't have an API that I can query.
5 seconds.
Our API works. You can call, you get back a config file, and it just works.
Oh,
And we're at time. We're at time. The way that, so please, judges, add a score between 0 and 10 of what you think of the project. That's really that simple. The way we're going to do this with the Slido is if I open up Slido and there's no questions in Slido, I'm not going to show the Slido. If you do have questions, there's the QR code. Keep it open on your phone. And after each round, we're going to reset it. But if there are no questions, we're not going to ask those questions. Is that clear to everyone? Say yes. Yes. Thank you. All right. Judges, in 5 seconds, I want you to hold up your board, and then, yeah, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who's better at music? Share it behind you, so turn it around and the audience can count. Who's good at maths? What's the score? Someone shouted? 21? 31. We got a 31. Give it up for Mentor. Thank you. This is where I tell you I'm dyslexic and I'm really bad at mental math. So we're going to make this work. So next up, we have DeTrip. Your time starts. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
There you go. Your time starts now.
Hey, everyone. So my name is Judy. Today I'm going to talk about DeTrip. So basically, we are a travel platform. Think about Booking.com, Expedia, etc., but built at Web3 standards. But interesting thing we're going to focus today is about privacy in travel. Basically, there's no privacy in the travel platforms these days. Think of this. I think everybody here have experience making a hotel booking, in your life, right? So when you check out, usually Booking.com or Expedia or Airbnb, they'll ask you your name, email address, and all the information you need to ensure you get the booking done. And you better write your real name because the hotel will check who you are when you check in, right? Airbnb even asks for you to upload your identity, like passport, etc., to verify who you are, because for safety purpose, they have a reason. But do those platforms actually have the right to collect our personal information? The answer is no, because they don't have the right to do so, not a legal reason. But the hotels and the host, like Airbnb, they do have the right to collect to see your passport and ID based on local regulation, but not the platforms. So what you need is a booking proof. So this is an anonymous booking feature that we built via zero proof. And I'm going to show you a demo. which is going to be fun. So it's a pre-recorded because it's easier to show both screen of the phone and the website. So it's deployed on our testnet already. So let's go. So when you book a hotel, for example, this one, normally you will have to fill in a lot of information here. But with us, you don't. You basically click next, and use your phone, which is a self-sovereign identity app. So basically, you associate your DID with this booking session. And you scan a QR code, and then that's upload to the server. And now the last step is basically you check out. Here we support crypto payments, and you make a payment. This is a test payment, so it's only $1 stuff. After this is done, the user will be able to fetch the credential issued by our platform. So basically scanning the QR code again, and it's going to download the credential into their app. So you can use any kind of SSI apps. And now we switch to the host side. Basically, the host will, upon checking, they will show a QR code, ask the guest to check in to prove they actually make the booking. And similarly, they use the same phone, which downloaded the credential already to scan the QR code and to verify the booking proof. So at this point, it's successful, and the platform don't know who actually made the booking. Only the host, they know who you are, and they can ask her to see your passport, etc. But that's it. The platform, the middleman, never knows who you are. And protect that. In that way, we can protect users' data from the whole travel industry.
And we're at time. And we're at time. Reminder, use the slider if you have a question. You guys ask the question.
Okay. It seems like the platform will still know the wallet that made the payment, right?
Yeah, the wallet, of course. But it's not related to anything in the platform. Payment is payment. The identity is identity. It's two different things. Because we integrate with third-party payment platform like Now Payments, etc. You can use any wallet you want to pay, to scan a QR code. Yeah.
Quick side note, really, really cool. Big fan of it. Known DeTrip for a long time.
Thank you.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
So which parts of this are on-chain, which parts are off-chain?
Sorry, which part?
Which parts of the demo we saw are on-chain, like in a smart contract?
Oh yeah, so basically there's a state contract deployed on-chain, and that's used to when the booking is completed after user payment, right? So our backend will issue the credential, and at the same after issue the credential, we will basically call the state contract to upload the status of the Merkle tree status to make sure the credential is not revoked later on. So in the end, when the guest go to the hotel staff to check in, he will verify the proof. And that time, we will also check with the smart contract to ensure the same status. The proof, the credential is not revoked yet. So that's two parts: is using the blockchain to check the status because it's immutable on chain.
So is it correct to say then that the platform doesn't get your identification information, but your platform does in this case, right?
No, we don't. When I say platform, includes us or Booking.com, these traditional OTAs, they get your personal data. And our solution basically prevent those middlemen, this platform, get your personal data. But the hotels or the Airbnb
but they still have to trust you, though, in this particular scenario. They have to trust that this protocol verified it correctly.
Yeah, because we are basically facilitating the booking, right? So we issue the booking proof. We just tell the host, like, hey, this guy make a booking, and he really make the booking. Please check.
Right, but that means the information is still exposed to you in this case. You're just saying you're essentially an identity provider in this case.
Exactly. In our database, we will see a DID, the user's ID, and the check-in, check-out dates, and where the hotel, price, etc. That's what we see. Nothing else.
Why do you think you need a blockchain for this?
Actually, if you know ZKP well, you don't really need a zero knowledge proof. It's basically private key, public key.
Right.
The thing that we need blockchain here, there's like I answered the other gentleman's question. So we need to check this the status is real, right? So because it can be changed. If it's only backend database, people can change it without you notice. But if it's on-chain, everybody can verify the status is unchanged.
I'm not sure if I see much value in that, but what does it look like if, say, you do trash a hotel room, and then the hotel would then have to contact your platform and ask for the identity information? Is that how that would look? What that would look like?
They don't need to contact us.
How do they get the identity information in order to press legal charges?
What the hotel need to do is basically run this. We have a website. They basically show the QR code of the booking, and the user scan the QR code.
I know it's a zero-knowledge proof of an identity, but you need the actual identity if
Hotel
they were to trash the room, right?
Hotel can ask the guest to show the passport.
Oh, of course. Okay, I understand.
Not us. Not us.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Could we put the Slido up? And take one more question from you guys, and then we'll jump into those ones. If you don't have one, then we'll jump in. What's the main difference between DeTrip and Travailer.com?
Mostly it's very similar. We're also very similar to Booking.com. So that's why we are actually in a transition to move from a profit-driven company to a non-profit-driven company. And we basically optimize not for profit, but optimize for cost. So reduce our cost so we can offer the lowest price to people like you guys, crypto nomads, etc. And we can use the minimum profit to develop cool features like I just explained. But Travailer or Booking.com, they basically play the the traditional role, throw billions of dollars in marketing and make you know, okay, Booking is the only platform to use, but we are not, and we're not massively looking for profit. That's probably the difference. So we're a bit niche, but I think that's our mission to do so.
It does seem less convenient, though, because that means you need to show your identity information to the platform and the hotel, versus these booking platforms, you just have to expose it just to the platform. Like, I understand the privacy benefits, but just from a user's perspective, it is more cumbersome.
Last answer.
Yeah, actually not really. Yeah, it's just a QR code to scan and show the.
But there's an extra step because you have to show it. You have to show your ID to the hotel as well. They can't just do the proof. Right?
But you have to show the ID to the hotel anyway because it's by law.
Yeah, you have to.
But isn't that information just passed on through Booking.com?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have our scores. Whoop. To the other, could this easily be adopted by the kinds of booking, not only travel? I assume so, and that's what makes it exciting. Right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put them up behind you. The other guys need to do the maths. Come on. 24. 24, that's the conclusion. All right, a grand total of 24. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Robin. Are you ready? I don't think your name's Robin. Are you feeling ready? It should just work. It should. If not, we get you another one.
I also have quite good lungs, so I can potentially do it. Oh, yes, there we go.
Perfect. All right. Well, please give it up for Robin. And your time starts now.
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is actually Vincent. I'm the co-founder of Robin, together with my friend Ferdinand over here. And you've all probably heard about prediction markets. They had a huge year in 2024 with the US election and once again cemented themselves as the most optimal information aggregator. But what you probably don't know is that out of the $113 billion of TVL that's locked up in DeFi, only 0.2% is being used to secure prediction markets. And as strong believers in Vitalik's info finance thesis, we think this number could be a lot higher. But first, let's explore why this is the problem. Well, prediction markets in their structural nature are quite unattractive to most financial market participants. If you think about it, they have very long tail settlement times, can take months or years to settle, which removes the gamblers, which probably most of us in this room are when it comes to crypto. They also are quite risky and require niche knowledge, which removes passive investors and savers, leaving only smart money to battle each other in the order books, which, let's face it, they need other participants to make the pricing of markets profitable. So what we're doing is we are realigning incentives for prediction markets to unlock billions of DeFi capital into predicting the future. How do we do that? First, let's take a look at how a basic prediction market works. This is your average poly market or any other on-chain prediction market. You have a liquidity provider that mints conditional tokens for stablecoins, puts those tokens into an AMM or order book where they market make and users can speculate and trade on outcomes. The incentive for the LP is the trading fee and potentially making money on spreads. Incentive for the user is to speculate. What we are doing is we're taking the stablecoins from the conditional token vault and putting them into yield-bearing vault strategies on-chain. So we're able to generate DeFi native yield, incentivizing LPs to provide more liquidity and lock it up for longer, and incentivizing traders to generate more volume, which then in its turn again incentivizes LPs to be more active in the order books because it's going to create more activity. This actually positions us very uniquely when you look at the prediction markets that exist today. So on the very left-hand side there, we have Polymarket, which probably everyone in this room is aware of. They have by far the most volume and the highest liquidity, but at this current time, they are incentivizing all their users paying out of their own pocket, paying stablecoins from revenue they generate and from VCs that they've raised funds from. And I'm out of time, but what comes closest is probably predict.fun or Drift, where you use yield-bearing stablecoins, which basically means that you can lose your principal and your yield if your bet is wrong. We've been able to separate this so that you can minimize your losses and maximize your winnings. Thank you very much.
Remember to use the Slido, guys, if you have questions. Now, to our judges. Any questions for the project, Robin?
So I'm supposed to be the harder judge, harsher critic here, but yeah, I actually think this is an amazing use case. I'm quite excited about this. So
thank you so much.
I'm not going to question the use case. You didn't mention at all what this is built on top of, and what are some of the trust trade-offs of that design. Maybe you could speak to that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have my CTO Ferdinand with me here as well, but basically so to take it back a bit, we started by building a Futarchy project earlier this year, a decision market, and based on feedback from hundreds of users and VCs, we came to the conclusion that it's not really the right thing to do. We pivoted to this on user research, and we're still looking at exactly where we will deploy it. We need to be close to the yield to have effective yield-bearing strategies, so it will most likely be on an Ethereum layer 2, like Arbitrum, Optimism, or Base.
You don't think that, like, because of the political nature of a prediction market, you don't think that should be on a platform that's decentralized, permissionless, and censorship resistant?
No.
Well, I think that it certainly should, and I do think that those platforms fall under a lot of those characterizations.
No, Ethereum L2s currently fall under that category, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think...
Especially not any with liquidity.
Yeah, no, skip.
I don't want to throw Ferdinand under the bus here either. But,
I would just say keep an open mind about where you deploy, is all I'll say to that.
Yeah, I guess a big problem with that would be that we have a little bit more gas overhead compared to Polymarket, for example, because of all this liquidity shifting around.
Yep.
So deploying on mainnet Ethereum, for example, would probably yield high gas prices, which...
You should absolutely not build on Ethereum. No one should build on Ethereum because it's not scalable and expensive.
Exactly. So
you should build on a scalable blockchain instead that's permissionless and censorship resistant.
Exactly, yeah. So, well, yeah, I guess we have to look into that more, but at the moment our plan was layer 2 Ethereum.
Understood.
you heard it here first, ETHDam. Don't build on Ethereum.
Hey, don't take it from me. Take it from the Ethereum devs as well, right?
I mean, that's a personal thing. Any other questions from the judges? Have you guys had asked all the questions you would like to ask? I presume so. I think they're ready. They are totally clear on your project, it seems. Well, that means we're going to move on to Slido. The first question I have is, does the yield bias the prediction market's dynamics? Could you explain or try to give an insight on that?
Yes, it does in a way that I'm not entirely sure what specifically you mean by the question, but the point of the yield is to generate higher liquidity, meaning tighter spreads and higher volume as well. So in that way, it certainly biases it, but if you think about it, it's still a market. So if you see odds shifting far away from other markets, that creates arbitrage opportunity for smart money actors. So it will always converge to the truth.
I hope that answers your question. Since we don't have any other questions, we actually, yeah, we'll just move on. Once again, a round of applause to
Thank you very
Robin,
much.
please. Judges, you can do your thing. Do you need to think about it for a long time? Okay, we will see. Are you ready, judges? If you're ready, please raise up your scores so that everyone can see them. Who is the mathematician among us? The supercomputer. Can you help us, please? I guess there's no supercomputer.
I added a fraction.
Fraction! Oh my days. We really need a supercomputer now. Can you guys help us? No one? 33.5. Hey, we have a supercomputer. Thank you very much. In fact, a quantum computer, you would say. All right, thank you very much, Robin. Now, moving on, we have actually Move AI, but unfortunately, they're not here yet, so we're just going to move along to the cast. Welcome to the stage, the cast, please. Round of applause for them, guys.
Hello.
Yes.
So I'm Shivam, and I'll be talking about Decast.live, which, as the name suggests, is a decentralized live casting platform. And basically, the problem that I'm going to talk about is the millions of videos that are being censored on an annual basis by all the major platforms where we share our stuff. If we talk about recorded videos, it's about millions. And if we talk about live streams that are blocked at source, it's hundreds of thousands still. So, and when legacy media has already been obscured by the news, by social media, in terms of how we consume our content, it already begs to differ what is the meaning of truth. Is truth what is popular or what is controlled? So when we talk about a functioning democracy here, we have legislative, an impartial judiciary, an honest governance, and an independent press, right? But what if the governance is a bit naughty? We are seeing journalism being blocked, even killed at source. We are seeing that judiciary is being misinformed, misdirected, and confused because of the age of manipulation. And this is where we talk about, did you even know that in most of the countries in the world, even a recorded witness, like a witness testimony which is recorded, is not admissible as an incriminating evidence. So we are solving this problem by doing the three main things: identity, data, and media management, where we solve, this is not a legal problem, it's a technical problem, why the countries do not allow this as an incriminating evidence. So we are working on these particular three things, and for this hackathon, we have worked more on the media side of it to create a tamper-proof and resilient storage which can be verifiable and IP protected. We have used Ethereum, Swarm, and Sia as decentralized storage providers. And we have added all the options where we give the power back to the user or the owner of the stream to see where their digital footprint is going to be, whether it is going to be local or on a particular social media of their own preference, or even decentralized, which can be recorded and verified at a later point for any journalistic or legal use case. On top of that, if you're a very advanced user, you can also host your own node, and you can configure it with the platform so that the recording that you have already done with your cast goes directly onto your node, where you can control its protection, its access, and also its perpetuality. So if you feel that the future is like how Jetsons predicted, like immersive and video, then we are building a learning ecosystem with human and machine integrated networks, where you can help us build a fair, equitable, and safe future for our digital footprint.
Yes, big round of applause for Decast.live, guys. Thank you, thank you. Amazing, amazing. So remember, questions are through Slido, and judges, straight on to you. What are your thoughts, remarks, questions, anything?
you just threw machine learning at the end there. Like, what is that? How is this even relevant to the streaming service?
Because this is OtterTrack, and for streaming service as well, there are certain other pieces that we are working on. So for identity management, authorization, and also some form of bandwidth compression, like the packet compression, when the stream is being started, we are using some AI models.
I'm concerned about the UX. So do you, like, if someone posts a video, is there just a default option where it gets hosted, or do they actually have to like choose where they host it, and then they have to pay for the hosting themselves, I assume as well, right?
Mainly, the decentralized option is for advanced users. However, we have made it very, very simple. We give 100 minutes of recordings, for training. So you don't need to have a wallet or like, SIA or Buzz tokens to start with it, because we fund it. So the UX is quite comfortable.
What purpose does a token serve within the system?
Token is for if you are planning to host this on a decentralized, storage media like Ethereum and Swarm, or Ethereum, Swarm and SIA, they use tokens to, give you the storage.
Yeah, but you just need their tokens. You don't need your own token in that case.
We don't have any tokens.
Oh, okay, clear. Okay, understood.
Any other questions?
How do you compare to competitors like PeerTube?
Well, I'm hearing it for the first time, but yeah, it's not a peer-to-peer service yet. But the idea is there's an information structure that we have, information architecture that we have, which has 3 layers: authorization, authentication, which clubs into the identity part, then compute and the AI processing, which is the middleware where the processing and all happens, and then there's a infrastructure layer. And the infrastructure layer is basically if we eventually go on creating a node or decentralized network, L1, or hosted on some other, or decentralized storage network which we can plug in.
So at this point, you're just providing like a thin storage UI for various storage provider platforms for videos.
We have a storage profiler, which is like you are suggesting, so we can plug into that Arweave, Ethereum Swarm, or like whatever storages are there.
Yeah, but you're a middleware for various storage layers where you're then providing a video user interface.
Say it again?
You're just providing a video user interface. You mentioned that you will be providing ways to avoid, to make stuff verifiably true. Is there any technical aspect where you're achieving that?
For authentication, there is a big profiler which basically integrates DID identifiers. So you can plug in KYCs, age verification, liveness check, or any kind of verification that you want to do at the point that you want to get it done.
Okay, but like on the second slide, you say proving that something is not AI generated.
Yes.
Are you doing that?
Yes, through authentication layer.
Just because it's authenticated, but no other way, no more advanced checks.
It can be authenticated in 3 manners. Pre-event, where authentication matters, like how you logged in, right? Like you can log in through a wallet, you can log in through a...
Okay, but like, do you do any processing of the video itself to check if it's AI generated?
The video is being casted live on our platform. So it is getting generated on our platform. So yes, it is getting verified. And while the casting is happening, you can trigger any check at any point of time. Let me give you a real example. Say you are doing a live stream. At one point of time, there is a sensitive material that should be watched by only 18 plus years of age. So at that point of time, you can trigger an age verification test, and whoever authenticates.
Are you familiar with the phrase garbage in, garbage out?
Yes.
Because I mean, like, I could just put up a deep fake, say it's me, or someone else. I mean, there's nothing actually stopping that in this design, as far as I can tell.
Yes, if you are the moderator.
Okay, it seems now like you're saying that instead of verifying that the provenance of the content, your platform is more about verifying that viewers are, 18 plus or whatever. I mean.
To answer your particular piece, any point that there is a moderator who is the cast author, right? So somebody is doing that.
1. And I'm
You're not solving the problem.
Do a live
That's enough time.
liveness check.
That's enough time. I'm so sorry. If you have questions later, you could meet them later on. Judges, please, could we have a quick score and a round of applause for the... Yes. Judges, do we have a score? Are we ready? Yes? Please give your scores so we can have our supercomputer again. Supercomputer, please raise the scores, judges. Yeah, supercomputer. 11. Okay, thank you very much, supercomputer. Moving on, we have Arnacon. Welcome. And yeah, the floor is yours. A round of applause for Arnacon, please.
Last week, I received a phone call from a guy wanting to sell me optic fiber. I was confused, since I already have optic fiber for the past 2 years. But since I'm in the Netherlands, I can't resist listening to a good deal. I listened to the deal, and then I wrote his number down and went online to see if the guy is who he's saying it is. The following scenario exemplifies a problem that we all face in normal, traditional telephony applications, that we cannot verify that the guy on the other side of the call is who he's saying it is. In a case of a system hack or breached, my number and details are all online.
And this is where Select comes in. Select is a It's not working? Ah, okay. So this is where Select comes in. Select is a telecom MVNO that sells secondary numbers since over 20 years internationally already. And a couple of years ago, we decided to take our telecom knowledge and apply the Web3 core rules, so openness and privacy, to it, and that led to the creation of our app, Arnacon.
Arnacon is a protocol that allows you to send messages, make calls under one roof. You can, due to the core blockchain fundamental infrastructure, problems of modern telephony can be solved out of the box, like identity spoofing, SIM hijacking, and more. With Arnacon, due to the unique infrastructure, we are also gained with new and exciting abilities that simply cannot be achieved in normal telephony, like multiple identities. With multiple identities, I can bring my own verified identity, prove my ownership on it, and then use it in order to make and receive calls.
Now you may ask, which identities?
Everything. Everything that you already own, you can verify your ownership on, and then use it as a calling and sending messages. On the screen, there is a photo from the app showcasing my ENS that I verified, my email address, and temporary identities. Temporary identities are identities that you can bring, as then use it as long as you need them. Want to leave your details into a lead, and then later on dispose it, easy disposable. You can see the comparison with Revolut virtual cars. But communication is not always about private interactions. This I will skip because I don't have much time. With Arnacon, you can send messages and make calls. Due to the unique infrastructure of blockchain, we can get communication open, free, and decentralized. Thank you.
Big round of applause for Arnacon, guys. Remember, use the slider to send your questions in. And judges, what are our thoughts?
So you're saying that this just uses the this is just VoIP, right?
VoIP.
Okay.
So what is blockchain used for? So like which parts are stored on blockchain?
Finding your recipient, the guy you're calling to. In normal telephony, it's being used via different service providers, going through different service all across internationally during old school signaling protocol, SS7, it's 40 years old or more. With the blockchain, because it's globally accessible, I can just go and check my recipient on chain and see the destination directly.
Is that encrypted? It's not encrypted.
Encrypted end to end, of course.
Okay, then the person verifying that has the decryption key then.
You own your own keys, of course. You have seamlessly integrated into the app a key pair, a normal Ethereum key pair. And then you will also put on-chain for every verifiable identity an asymmetric key for encryption.
It's hard enough to get people to use Signal. Like,
We are not Signal at all. We don't want the users. We don't want them to be. We want whatever applications you have. Like we see here in the conventions, every speaker finishes. It shows like 4 different mediums that people can talk to and go to. We want all of these identities that you already own, bring it in the application, prove ownership, and then just use to make communication in one roof.
I didn't get, like, what's the handle, or like what do you need to then remember of a user?
Again, sorry, I didn't.
So what do you need? So if I want to contact you and know it's you, like I need like your ENS, or what do I need?
One of the identities can be ENS. There's like a web tree. Where you can bring also like your email address, verify ownership with OTP, or you can.
Identity.
Yeah. Temporary identity if you don't want to reveal your true identity because you're afraid it's going to be left online.
So it's a platform for putting your identity information on the blockchain.
Not fully understand what you said, but then no.
Okay.
I'm not going to agree with you. I didn't understand.
All right.
No, but one of the issues could be, like, for example, if you have like this mapping stored on blockchain and blockchain is public, then you have an issue with like supposedly temporary identities.
Why?
Yeah, because like all the identities are linked together.
No, every single identity has its own key pair that we generate, especially for the temp identity that doesn't need to be related to, let's say, your main identity.
okay, so how does the blockchain come in here? Like, for real? You're not doing the phone call over blockchain.
No, this cannot be timed through
You're
the speed of the
eventually
blockchain.
using the private key of like a famous wallet, let's say, to sign your own identity to prove that you are yourself. But other than that, like, what are you actually improving there?
If let's say you have like your ENS.
I could sign a message saying, yes, this is indeed my account that I just sent you a message from, and send a message sent with my private key over Signal. And Signal is generally considered a way better platform, right?
Telegram is more based and is much more, but again, they want the users to remain at their own.
Telegram is not...
If you would be on Telegram and you would want to write somebody on Signal, you cannot do that.
And
with our app,
can I write someone on Signal?
With our app, you could, because you bring your identity from Telegram.
But there's already many apps that do that manage multiple. You know, HubSpot exists, I guess.
No, there isn't. There aren't. Sorry.
Okay. I think judges have asked your questions. Could we put the slide on for a bit? Because I think there are 2 questions that came on. So from now on, we'll all refund scammers that to use your software for their fake calls. We wired you too much or many by accident. Send us gift cards. What do you have to say to that? Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but you could also just, yeah.
Well, you have to verify your identity. You cannot just act like somebody, let's say it like this. You have to, for example, with the email, you need, for example, a one-time password to verify that it's actually your email. So if somebody would act as a scammer, they would actually have your email.
Okay. Another question is, in a practical
isn't the point of the temporary identities too?
The temporary identity is, for example, I see where this person is coming from, but the temporary identity is more in the sense of that you can, in an event like this, and you decide, okay, I don't really want to give you yet because I don't know you. I don't want to give you my name or my email, but I do want you to have a way to contact me. And then we can exchange maybe via that some more details.
Wait, sorry. It seems to me like your app maybe makes it easier to correlate disparate personal information about someone else, because you could, you know, from just one account find more info. Maybe somebody linked their address and they linked their Telegram, and then you can find that that's actually their address. So it's actually a great OSINT tool if people use
Another address. You have seamlessly integrating into the app. Another address is not linked to your main address. If you decide that you want to verify it.
These are actually different accounts then?
Yeah.
So wait, if I make a temporary identity and I try to message someone on Telegram, who will that message come from?
You can't message from Arnacon to Telegram users on Telegram.
So I can message using my account to Telegram users on
Arnacon, or to any identity provider that we support, and that can be everything, basically.
But the messaging is only within your app?
Yes.
Okay.
Calling as well.
And that's time. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for them again. Judges, can we have your votes or your score? All right. Let's see it. And what do we say? Sorry? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, judges. Moving on, we have proposal.apps. The stage is yours.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. I want to start by saying that this track is really cool. It allows me to come here and just act on whatever I want. So this is not going to be a pitch, by the way. It's just what we did during this weekend for proposals.app. I want to ask you, which one of you has voted on the DAO proposal recently? Okay, and have you read the proposal that you voted on? Because sometimes proposals are so convoluted that you have to go through a bunch of things in forums and voting platforms, and you end up, after 2 minutes, with 30 tabs open. And specifically on Arbitrum DAO, which in my opinion is probably the biggest DAO in the world, in the sense that it protects with on-chain contracts the most amount of value, billions of dollars of worth. These proposals are really convoluted. It's really hard to understand why people voted in the way they voted and why proposals passed and so on. And so 9 months ago, we were in an hackathon in Brussels, and we came up with the idea of doing proposals.app, which would aggregate all the information about the proposal in the same place. That's it. That's a simple idea. Instead of you going to the forum and to Snapshot and to Tally and to Twitter and all that, you could have everything in the same place, instead of having this mess. So in proposals.app, you can come here and you can see the list of proposals on Arbitrum. You can click on the proposal. You can see the text. You can show the changes of the different versions of the proposal. And you can see all the comments and votes of everybody that voted, including having the comments and the votes with the voting power. So this is my vote and my comment with my voting power here. And you can see that these proposals had 2 votes, an off-chain vote and an on-chain vote. And you can look at the current results of the on-chain vote, for example. And you can see who voted in which way. And you can go and see the previous off-chain vote as well. And you can browse through all the proposals in Arbitrum specifically since the beginning of times. So that's what proposal.app does. And for the past 9 months, we've been working on Arbitrum for improving the Arbitrum governance. And what we did this weekend was that a month ago, the Arbitrum Foundation posted a new vision for the Arbitrum DAO, which is this post right here in the forum, which in my opinion makes it so that the DAO in Arbitrum will not exist anymore. It will become centralized, and it's basically posting this vision in the forum like this killed the DAO. So what we did this weekend was to come up with a new positioning for proposals.app and to criticize this move from Arbitrum Foundation. And literally the work was to write a forum post explaining what's going on. And you can go to the forum, click on this vision post and see my post here, and then my co-founder's post as well, Andre here as well. And the gist of it is that Arbitrum DAO is dead, but also long live Arbitrum DAO, or any kind of DAO. We deeply believe that decentralized governance is needed, and it should follow very strong values. And we are building proposals.app in a way that we want to increase transparency in decentralized governance. That's why we aggregate all the information together. That's why we show the voting power on comments. That's why we show when a comment has been deleted or censored by the foundation. And we want to make decentralized governance way more transparent than what it currently is. So, just to finish it off, our new positioning is that we're in crypto to protect individual freedom, and in our opinion, freedom of speech is the most important human right. And the most important part of speech in human beings is when we vote, because the vote is the most impactful form of speech for us. So the vote is sacred, and a proposal is divine. And that's what we're trying to achieve with proposals.app. So, thank you.
Yeah, big round of applause for you. All right, judges, are there any questions?
I like what you're doing. Check, check. Yeah, I like what you're doing a lot here. I really support it. I think it's a really great thing. I'm a little bit confused about what I'm supposed to judge.
Yeah, I think you're not the only one.
I'm hacking my way through this track, basically. I can talk about our building proposals.app. So it's fully open source. Anybody is self-hosted in 2 servers in my house and in my co-founder's house in the middle of Romania. If you go right now to arbitrum.proposals.app, it's pinging my house and serving the app. Anybody can self-host it, all the backend, all the front end as well. And it is right now integrated for Arbitrum, meaning Arbitrum Forum, Arbitrum Off-Chain Voting, and Arbitrum On-Chain Voting, but can also easily be integrated for other DAOs. And we want to release it and publish and document it, and we're building it in the open as well, as a tool that anybody can self-host and use for whatever DAO they want.
Wow, so it truly is a public good in the truest sense of the word, isn't it? Okay, understood. Yeah. Thank you. I think we should try to judge it as a public good, not as an investment.
I like the idea, but I didn't sort of like get the pitch in terms of like you sort of going to arbitrum.proposals.app and sort of show us. I mean, you gave like a very long backstory, but sort of, yeah, the actual implementation is harder to judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty forum, basically, right?
Yeah, and it aggregates the forum comments and the votes all in the same place, yeah.
Okay, and the change that Arbitrum DAO implemented was lowering the total amount of tokens that needed to be committed to a vote from 5% of the total supply to 4.5.
That's one of the proposals, yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the proposals that we don't agree with as well, because it increases the attack vector of governance attacks in Arbitrum DAO. Right now, there's more money in ETH on the treasury of Arbitrum than what it's needed to get enough votes to pass quorum.
And a similar attack happened to Compound very, very recently.
And that's, I don't want to say that, but yeah, that might be imminent, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. 5% is too low. That they're even lowering that more is insane to me.
For constitutional proposals that can alter the smart contracts of the L2.
So I really appreciate the work you're doing here. It's very good.
Yeah.
So basically, like, okay, I'm using my phone to actually like browse the proposals.app. So like, you're saying like with this, like you actually remove the friction of many platforms and like only like wallets that actually are eligible to vote, sort of can comment.
Yeah. And we bring more context to what's happening in the proposal, because sometimes you see a forum comment and you don't know who that person is, and maybe it's someone from the foundation, which has way more power than what it looks like, or maybe it's someone from one of the biggest delegates, or maybe someone that has no voting power. In our platform, you can see specifically the voting power, and when they vote, you can see the change in voting power as well to see if they are getting more voting power or less. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you have any plans for expanding this to other chains, for making this a service for general DAOs and general DAO tooling?
So for the past 9 months, we got a grant from Arbitrum to build this, a small one, and we've been exclusive to Arbitrum. But now, given the new context, we're looking into other DAOs. and specifically infrastructure DAOs like ENS, Lido, and maybe Uniswap as well, that have a revenue model. That's kind of important, and that are willing to experiment with this kind of transparency in governance. Yeah.
I mean, usually a big issue with like voting and DAOs is like, for some of the things, you perhaps don't want to reveal the vote while the vote is open, or perhaps, so like, what are your plans to sort of like improve that? Perhaps like now it's even like harder, because like you would actually see like, yeah, they're like ENS, or like you would see like the wallet's amount and stuff. So that's very transparent, but for some of the cases, I guess, like, I don't know.
For example, in Arbitrum DAO, elections are shielded votes on Snapshot with the Shutter network. And of course, we only show the result after the vote is done. And there's been some examples of elections in Arbitrum DAO where someone bought the voting power of a big chunk to vote for themselves, or a friend bought voting power for themselves. And it was controversial, and the result of the election is much more contentious when the vote is shielded. I actually personally agree that elections should have shielded votes. Maybe all votes should be shielded, because in a governance apathy kind of scenario where people don't really read proposals and they just vote because they need to vote, they copy the vote of people that they respect, right? They don't actually think for themselves and vote what they think is right. They just copy the vote. When the vote is shielded,
it can always be like configurable. Like you could sort of like, while the voting is open, like it's sort of shielded, but then at the end it could be.
That's how it works currently.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, judges, for your question. We have on Slido. Okay, that's totally fine. Thank you very much. Please welcome 1 second. Judges, please, have you made your vote, by the way, so we can have our supercomputers figure that out? Well, yeah, tell us more about the aggregation process. You can find him later on and ask about the question that you have, okay? Yeah, judges, are we ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. I guess we've run out of computers. Sorry? 35. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. We have OneClick.Fi. The stage is yours. Good luck.
Hi, guys. Good to be here. My name is Max. I'm a founder of OneClick. I'm based here in the Netherlands. I moved there 7 years ago, graduated from Fontys University of Applied Sciences. My background overall is in economics and being builder, practically building apps and websites since I'm a teenager. So today I'm going to talk about OneClick and how we make DeFi more accessible. So the problem is with DeFi is that it's as lucrative as it's confusing. So you have, people can make life-changing money with yield farming and airdrops, but it could take you days or even weeks to figure out how to use a non-custodial wallet. And even when you do, how do you know which of the 6,900 protocols and hundreds of chains should you use and which ones you should avoid? Now, at the same time, the DeFi protocols, they are scrambling for users. They are looking for liquidity. They're practically ready to kill. The competition is very fierce. Now, what if there is a solution where you can access all the top opportunities on the DeFi basically in instant access, earn premium rewards, and save on gas fees? So basically that's what OneClick is about, is like an abstraction layer that connects liquidity providers with top DeFi protocols. And on the user side, we help with discovery, so you can find the best pools that match your unique profile, budget, and goals. Getting there, basically, you can instantly deposit into any pool from any chain or any asset, earning better rewards. So we have like a loyalty program with some of these protocols that help you to even earn better rewards than by default with them. So it's pretty important. And tracking everything from one place without having to juggle between like tens of different tabs. So our solution is unique because it's not just a dashboard. It's basically a DeFi farming super app that gives you a one-click access to one of the best opportunities and allows you to save on gas fees and earn better rewards. One of the best parts about it is it's also available as an API SDK widget. Think about it like a 1inch, but for farming. Like any wallet, any dApp can integrate it inside their own products. We already partner with a lot of cool protocols like Stakestone, Puffer, Origin, received some grants, built a community. The team is pretty diverse with background in finance, AI, and Web3. I know it's not a pitching event, but we are currently closing our seed, and the app is still in beta. We're looking for like-minded people to help us bring it to the next level. Happy to take any questions, or feel free to catch me here around or connect on Telegram. Thank you.
Big round of applause. Very nice, very nice. All right, remember to send your questions through Slido, and judges, please ask away.
OK. Do you just aggregate various sources, or do you actually hold user funds and then reinvest those user funds, but there is a step between that where, you know, it's on your platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. And by design, we don't hold any custody or user funds. We basically act as a front-end router on top of existing DeFi protocols.
OK, but you mentioned you are able to provide additional yield in some cases, and that you have special deals. So how does that work?
So basically, the protocols, they allocate a separate pool of rewards that is getting streamed to users that are coming from our site.
But that happens separately manually?
It depends.
Like if I invest into a Uniswap pool, there will not be a magic modifier on that Uniswap pool. Instead, I will just get some airdrops of additional.
So yeah, this is a really cool question, because the technical part is really tricky, because every protocol has their own smart contract design, and some protocols, they support the referral kind of field on chain, so we can pass it through, you know, our front end, and they can allocate rewards by, you know, default automatically. For those that don't, we also provide infrastructure, which basically aggregates all these addresses that coming from OneClick, and then we basically feed it to the protocols via API or like via CSV file. They can distribute rewards manually through Merkle or whatever, and yeah, it's all automatic as well.
So it would be fair to compare this to Jupiter, like as a super app? And if so, how's it different to Jupiter? Or if not, why is it different to Jupiter?
I would say Jupiter is more focused on trading. So it started as like a swap aggregator and like, you know.
But it plugs into everything now, right?
Does it have like the yield aggregation as well?
I believe so. It has perps now too.
Yeah, so we don't really focus on perps or trading or like all these DCA type of features, stuff like that. We focus specifically on the earning part. So we collect all these opportunities, not just on the yield, liquidity provisioning, but also staking, liquid restaking, lending, borrowing, all kinds of yield that you can find on chain, not specifically related to trading.
I would put a lot of these things in a similar category of DeFi. But I mean, why restrict yourself that way then? I mean, and the idea of everything super app is that it does everything, right? Like, why restrict it?
So what was the question again?
Well, how does this compare to Jupiter? And you're saying it does less than Jupiter, is what it sounds like what you're describing.
So I think Jupiter is just native on Solana still.
It's multi-chain now as well. But it seems very similar to that project. And I like the idea of a super app. I think it's a good idea. Unless you have another answer, so I have another question.
Yeah, sure. Just to add to that, Jupiter doesn't provide the boosted rewards. that we do through this referral.
Right, that's because of special deals that you're able to do on your end. Yeah, I understand. Another question, because you mentioned talking about solving the problem of what to buy, and an app like Jupiter takes a more neutral stance there. They're not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't buy or what's good or what's bad. And you're making the claim to kind of help solve that problem for users. It seems a bit problematic, right? Like, doesn't that put you in the position where you're giving financial advice? You're making judgments about very complex systems. Do you really want to put yourself in that position as an app?
Yeah, so that's a very fine line to kind of, for projects to consider crossing. And there is a difference between like you actually giving advice or you just provide information. So right now we're positioned as, hey, here is all the data that you need to make a decision. You have all the stats, all the TVL, all the risk analytics numbers, and you can make decision based on that data.
I mean that would take a whole research team just to maintain that accurately, right?
Perhaps I have like a similar question, but different, simpler one. So like, how does the project get revenue then? Like from these special deals?
Yeah, we take a cut from these deals, exactly. We might consider charging like transaction fees from the user, but we don't really want to undercut, the user's ability to generate any revenue, because yeah, our value prop is actually helping.
So they might be incentivized to like promote the projects.
Yeah, exactly. It seems there's a perverse incentive there then to promote the projects that are paying you to do this. No?
There are. We put risk first, right? So we don't promote like garbage or whatever.
You're not addressing the bias that's inherent in this situation. There's a perverse incentive, right? Because if you're getting paid by the projects and then, you have an incentive to then list those projects because you'll make more money that way.
If we're confident that these projects will receive demand from community, then yes. But if it's some kind of garbage protocol, like why would...
I mean, who says what's garbage and what's not? That's the problem I'm pointing out, right?
Well, same problem exchanges have, right? Binance lists all kinds of tokens, and like projects pay Binance for listings, but
Yeah, at the end of the day, any aggregator comes with a premium, right?
Well, I mean, there's a choice. There's a choice whether you want to be more neutral as an aggregator or if you really want to make more judgments about things. And I think Jupiter has taken a more neutral position. They'll list things based on volume, even if it's trash. I actually think that's a better way to do things because it avoids the bias.
Yeah, I agree. So there is also balance between all these things, and you always have to put like the users first, and don't promote really shitty projects. But it's
Great
by default.
Great question.
Yeah, very great questions, guys.
Okay, now judges, please give a score and show that to the rest of us. Are we ready, judges? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. I see someone, you're still busy. Okay, whoa, okay. So might be drawings at this point. What are we saying? What are we seeing? 25? Thank you very much. Another round of applause for OneClick, guys. Lastly, we have Fidesium. Fidesium. Thank you very much. Sometimes it's a bit hard, with the vowels. But the stage is yours, and also good luck.
So hi, my name's Abe. I'm one of the founders and CTO at Fidesium. We're a Web3 DevSecOps business bringing security automation to the space. Now, as we all know, hacks and scams are legion in this space. Everybody you speak to will have a flavor of story of how they lost 4, 5, 6 figures to hacks, to scams, to drainers, right? Chainalysis put out a report every year. In 2024, $3.8 billion were lost to cyber threat events in this space. So why is this, right? There's a number of reasons why this is true. They're interlocking and complicated, but one of the reasons is actually in Chainalysis' own report. It turns out only roughly 5% of protocols in the space have any kind of audit, and 94% of protocols with deployed code are out of date on their audit, i.e. the code deployed and the code audited are not the same. Now, the question is why? Well, there's a few reasons, but in a nutshell, audits are manual, slow, their lead times are measured in months, their processing times in weeks, they're expensive, often charging 5-6 figures for this manual review, and as demonstrated, they are out of date near enough as soon as they're done for a protocol with any significant level of activity. But we at Fidesium believe there's a better way. This problem is largely solved in Web 2 by companies like Snyk, Aikido, and their ilk, DevSecOps providers. What if you could connect your GitHub import a project from your GitHub, run a scan, which on the back end clones this repository, spins up a Docker container, and points a battery of tests, static analysis, and AST analytics primarily at it. We got about 2,500 detectors written, and boom. Now, we find a number of things there. We vary, obviously, in scope and significance. We find gas vulnerabilities. We find reentrancy attacks, privilege escalations, Oracle failures, a variety of things. We have 2,500 detectors. But the point is, you went from sign up to scan in, I don't know, about 30 seconds. Now, on top of all of this, I'm sure you all love talking to salespeople, but what if instead you could just look at a website, see a price? You enter your credit card, you sign up, you get a scan. And I've actually got 5 seconds to go.
Amazing, amazing. Straight to the point, no fluff, just raw demonstration. Judges, now is your time to pick it apart or tell us your thoughts or questions.
Can I go first? So usually, like, what happened, like, to our project lately was we get a lot of, like, inbound bounty requests, and it's usually like people using ChatGPT or tools that are similar, but producing a lot of, like, let's say, noise, false positives, yeah, and like we waste even more time. So, like, I saw, like, I don't know, 60 critical things. I don't know, like. This all seems like very, perhaps, like artificially inflated.
So that particular protocol that we use for testing, I don't know if you noticed it, the repository was called test-contract-stable-3. It's obviously full of criticals because we want to test our software, right? It's just what we use for demonstrations. I'm no longer on screen, but I actually have a redacted report from a customer that I could have also shared if I had more time. The rate of criticals we find is significantly less than that for real projects, right? So that particular report had 2 criticals in it. One was a privilege escalation attack, and one was an Oracle feed failure, right? Or the potential for an Oracle feed failure, rather. So winding this all back, where you started this question was you get inbound bug bounty requests from people using ChatGPT, right? And in a nutshell, we don't currently use any AI under the hood. It's all much more traditional techniques because of exactly this problem, right? Like wrapping, Claude, ChatGPT, etc. You will find some stuff, you'll also miss stuff, and you'll find a bunch of stuff that isn't there. This is ultimately high precision work, and AI just isn't there yet.
So I think, like, a great thing to do would be, like, if you buy or, like, let's say, commission a traditional audit and, like, give the same code base to your tool and just, like, sort of compare them.
Comparison, right?
Yeah. So we've stolen customers from some of the traditional audit houses. I'm not going to be naming names here. We've saved one of our customers 700 grand they had spent with major auditor A before signing up with us. And they have now renewed the service twice. So it certainly suggests that they might be happy. We've also taken their audit reports that were provided to them by said auditor, and this was a year and a half ago now, that was the first set of detectors we built to match that performance, obviously. We've also benchmarked against, so Halburn publishes their audits publicly. all of them. Now, we don't have access to the code underlying the audits, at least not always, but we have gone through those audits, and we are continually generating new detectors and ways to find those bugs for our customers.
Okay. So you are past the point of just running basic existing stuff like Slither and basic detectors. You have some more advanced stuff.
Correct. We've built our own, often on top of Slither, not always, but on top of Slither. But yeah, way past that.
Okay.
So a nice value prop would be like you could actually like sort of have a continuous, let's say, auditor versus like you audit like the code at one point in time, which is done by a human like or an agency. So like I think that's a very nice value prop.
Do you have any public benchmarks? Because if you have an automatic scanning tool, like, I mean, yes, many projects audited are not public, but you could take the commit in the audit, take 100, 200 audits, and do you have a public benchmark? Because at this point, I've seen a lot of what I'm an auditor, okay? I've seen a lot of what the automated tools do, mostly useless. Even OpenZeppelin has a tool, it will spit out a bunch of issues, like 60, 70 of those, about 2 may be useful, and that's it. So the question is, do you have any real benchmarks on finding real issues, especially more complicated correlated stuff, multi-contract systems, and you're not catching anything with Slither?
1 more minute.
So, okay. The short answer is no, not at present, right? We are still relatively young as a business. We have not gotten to publishing public benchmarks yet. It is on our roadmap, but it's not something we've done to date. Multi-contract systems and bugs, so we do find some things in those systems, because ultimately, like, I'm cutting out a few steps there, right? Like, we go through like transpilation step, we basically generate a flat contract of what it might look like once it's deployed on chain, and then run against that as well, which helps us identify some issues. Yeah, that's it.
If you can just give some estimates, because you would expect if you're paying auditing for millions of dollars, they would do a better job than your platform, right? So there's a scale here, right? Like, I think it's fantastic, by the way, because I think like the reason why we don't have enough audits is because it's so damn expensive, and that you're bringing the cost down in a way like this that at the same time, might not be as thorough as the other type of audit. It does democratize that to more people, and overall, I think this is great for the space. So yeah, really well done.
Okay. Now, judges, please, let's rank Fidesium. Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. What do we see? 37. Amazing. A big round of applause for Fidesium, guys. All right, we've made it to the end of the OtterTrack. We all saw very, very amazing and promising products. Sorry? Yes, so unfortunately, as you can see, we skipped some people that were not here. Move AI is one of them, and Neutron Org also not here, unfortunately. So yeah, sometimes it happens. But that being said, we're going to take 10 minutes. Actually, a bit. No? Okay, I guess we're changing. We're moving. Great. We need to, gain some time. We're trucking on. But either ways, that was it for OtterTrack. Please give a round of applause to everyone who presented.
Yeah, guys, come on the stage. Come on the stage.
Oh, now they're going to.
No, as in.
Oh, yeah. And then...
No, just come on the stage. These guys were the guys that grilled it. And in my inbox in a second, I'm going to get the results of your scoring. And so now we can all look at these guys and say, no. So, actually, the top one with the highest score was Fidesium. Yay!
Oh my goodness.
And then in second place, we had proposals.app. Woo! And then we had Robin coming in third place. Yeah, I agree. Cool. Thank you very much, guys.